I'll tell an interesting story here. Something actually that no one's ever heard before. Are you a Megadeth fan? Hey, two things I got to mention real quick. First, Metallica pinball machine, sick. But then what I like even better is that Arise deck back there. That's incredible.
Oh, thank you, man. Yeah, there's a company called Check Your Head, and they named it after the Beastie Boys song, but they release very limited edition skate decks. Also have a Pantera Vulgar Display of Power. But they work with the bands though, so it's not like a rip. So like actually you can buy a lot of these on the band's website. So
cool.
Yeah. It's super limited edition though. They'll put like 40 of them out, 40 or 50, and then that's it. So
yeah.
I got a Faith No More one too, man. Like
which one? Faith No More, right? Yeah, see that. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, so my wife lets me decorate the man cave. So that's it though. Like I can't be putting skate decks above the mantle.
Right. Hey, well, you're fortunate to have that, the man cave. At least you're allowed that, right? So,
dude, your place looks nice too, man.
Hey, thanks. I appreciate it.
Looks clean. That's good.
Thanks. Yeah. This is where I'm working every day.
Oh, it's nice, man. How's your day going besides dealing with me?
Real good.
Yeah.
Just preparing to make video. So I'm just writing a little like intro song for I'm going to be demoing a famous guitar head that I just inherited. So they were famous back in the day. Like I don't know anything about them. Actually, the Framus never would have even crossed my mind. But I guess Killswitch Engage used to use them a lot back in the day, and supposedly I'm just learning about them now over the past couple of days. But they're pretty popular and sought after.
Yeah, man. I've noticed like I've been on your YouTube page, and I've noticed like you're pretty savvy, like with just equipment and making these videos. Have you always been pretty good with computers?
Well, thanks, man. I guess I guess I just kind of figure stuff out. I'm sure, like you guys too. I've got that knack where if I want to figure out how to do something, whether I'd never edited a video before 3-4 years ago, but thanks to YouTube, you can figure out and learn anything that you want at all. And there are multiple videos on every topic, and you sift through a couple till you find the one that makes the most sense to you and dig in, whether you have to fix something on your dryer or your stove or help you determine what amp you're going to buy, and everything.
I still do. We do interviews at the house. So I have a crew that comes, but like I'm learning how to do the Zoom thing like you're doing. Have you ever had any like disasters where you think you're recording and you're not recording, or like we had earlier where I can't hear or you can't hear something? Do you ever run into any problems like that?
Oh, of course. Someone's mic wasn't on or something like that. You just did an hour interview, and like, so you have to just, so then you're digging in trying to improve like a camera audio feed to make it work. So, cause you don't want to tell the person, hey, I'm sorry, man, I didn't have your mic on. So you got to figure out a way to make it work. But yeah, there have been a couple disaster moments. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but where you just have to say, hey, I'm sorry, we got to do this again, or it didn't work out, or,
I forgot to introduce you to my co-host, which you met before me. This is Johnny Summers.
Hi, Johnny. We were kind of just thrown into it there, but
yeah. We're just right into it here.
What's that, Johnny?
I just said, no doubt, man. Vice versa. Nice to meet you, man.
Hey, right on. Likewise.
Dude, I grew up listening to Chimaira, and I'm from the South, so it's funny. I remember the first time listening to you guys pronounce your name and how me and my friends pronounced it. It was kind of funny because we used to pronounce it like Chimaira, like, oh man, I used to Chimaira. But it's funny. I don't know what made me think of that. But
I would say that's probably the most popular way to say it, Chimaira. We say Chimaira, Chimaira. But I mean, Chimaira is definitely what we hear the most, and certainly acceptable.
I definitely want to talk about it, but I want to talk about your solo album, which is awesome. It's really cool.
Thanks,
I've had Mark Rizzo on the show, and he's done a couple of solo albums. What made you decide to do a solo with no singing?
Well, first of all, Mark Rizzo, great guy. I saw you had one with him. I got to check that out. But we've been friends a long time, since 2001 when El Nino and Chimaira started touring together, and we hit it off right away. That guy's a monster, flamenco player, Golden Glove boxer, just a great all around dude. Well, I would say for a long time, I'd hear that, with every heavy band, there are the people that say they like the music, but the vocals are too much or something, or just too heavy, especially if your parents are listening to whatever, a Cannibal Corpse record. Now your parents wouldn't say they like the music of Cannibal Corpse. That was a bad example. But anyways, so I just thought, why don't I just do one to satisfy those people, and maybe, the other people that, didn't request an instrumental only record, they may enjoy it too. Just hearing Andals and I again, we hadn't made music together in a long time, had the opportunity to do that. And not that I really thought of this as a motivating factor, but it was easier not having to have another huge element of vocals, figuring out who I wanted, if they wanted to do it, if I was going to, if it was going to be like Mark or something, then why don't we just call it a new Chimaira record? Do I want somebody? I don't know. So I just figured I'm just going to do one. I plan to do more solo records, but I actually plan to have vocals on future ones. I don't think I'll continue without vocals. Maybe, who knows? But I don't know how I'll do it. If I'll have different singers per song, or one singer for a whole album and then switch it up, different drummer for another album. I haven't figured out exactly what I'm going to do, and that path will determine itself for me as time goes on, I believe.
That's cool. That reminds me of I was talking to Bones from Suck Mojo a while ago, and he was he was going to do an album called Bones and Friends, and every song just be a different singer. But that's really hard to do, like you said. I mean, having to get everybody together and planning. I know it's got to be pretty hard.
Yeah, like that Probot record, and which reminded me, you're like your promo video, like the intro video on your YouTube page, sounds like a Foo Fighter song. Is it? Like, I mean,
so my intro song is Clint Lowry from Seven Dust.
Oh,
he sang and wrote it, everything.
That's cool.
Yeah, do you do stuff like that for other people? Do you you said you record intros? Have you ever done anything like that for a podcast?
No, I used to, but when I started doing the YouTube thing, when I decided that I was going to try to do it full time, probably around 2018 or something, I really stopped taking on any additional work. So I haven't really done any collaborations or anything like that. I just don't even have time to put out as much of my own stuff that I want to. You know what I'm saying? The list is never ending. And so no, I really don't take on anything like that anymore.
It's cool looking at your background. I know we were talking earlier about your setup, but I'm a huge fan of Chimaira's documentaries. I think way underrated. If you think about Some Kind of Monster, I feel like your first one was kind of like that. Showing how your band was doing on the road, and you'd see Andals like quitting the band and then getting a new drummer. What made you guys decide to do the documentary?
Well, of course, we were all fans of the Vulgar video and Metallica's videos that they had back then. Even though at that time, what was it, Live Ship Engine Purge really wasn't like documentary, is more concert, but there'd be that in between stuff and everything. But anyways, we all watched that, and like I said, the Vulgar videos, and that was always awesome. And it just so happened that we were all from the Cleveland area, real close. A bunch of us went to high school together, and our friend Todd Bell, who was the cinematographer for The Dehumanizing, did all our DVDs, most of our photo shoots, a lot of our album artwork and stuff like that. He was just a high school guy we hung out with too, and had his band, and all our bands would play together. And so we were just fortunate to have a friend that was just already in with us and everything like that, that was going to film school and had a great eye for this stuff and loved it, wanted to do it. And so it was just as simple as that, I think, where he said, "Hey, can I just start filming you guys and we'll put something together?" And it coincided with the making of The Impossibility of Reason, which was just perfect timing. And it came out really well and was put out, and people seemed to really like it. It has really stood the test of time. And we're so grateful to have that documentary and the documentaries afterward, because the proof is there of what type of connection that's built with our fan base, and how they see us as just real people. And I think it really solidified a connection to the music in a way that it may had those documentaries not existed.
Yeah, man. Were you guys ever hesitant about releasing certain, like, were you in there and during the edit process? I mean, was there stuff that you're like, we can't release this, or, I mean, it seems pretty personal.
I don't think so. I think we'd get cuts now and then just to watch little segments. And maybe if there was something like, I don't know, super embarrassing or something, we could say, "Hey, cut that." But I don't remember anything like that happening. Granted, it's 20 years ago now, but
yeah, it's hard to remember that far back.
You get used to the camera being around quick when it's just there all the time for everything you're doing as you're in the studio and writing and all that for months. It's just, and when it's a close friend that you're just comfortable with and his crew of guys and all that you're just comfortable with, they become flies on the wall, and they're good at that too, just not interfering in any way and really just capturing the reality of these moments in a non-intrusive way. So you just got used to it and didn't care that it was around,
I love it. And it's a great way to just to meet the band kind of, I remember seeing Jim. I was like, why is Jim so mean all the time? And Andals, what an amazing drummer. And you can see in the documentary how replacing him was almost impossible, it seemed like. I mean, you had the one guy who lived, I can't remember where he's from, but just watching you interact with him, trying to show him what Andals plays. I mean, it's really cool, man.
That was Ricky from Sweden. Yeah. So the hardest thing about Andals was that because he and I had known each other since we were 15 years old and played in the band together before Chimaira, and then I brought him into Chimaira, and we just had such a tight knit bond. All just like 4 of us were from Strongsville. The other guys just lived in a couple neighboring cities, but all our bands would play together, and we just had just a really great friendship. And that was tough to hear that at that time that Andals wanted to quit right then. Like, whoa, are you serious? Like right now, this fire is blazing. Everything is starting to happen for us. Everything we wanted to happen is happening and stuff. And you want out right now? What? I couldn't believe it. We couldn't believe it. And then so replacing him, when it came to that, it proved that how Ricky didn't work out, that we had our walls up to people because of what we had before and how that felt. And then to just interject somebody new, even though Ricky was a fantastic drummer. Same with Kevin Talley. After Ricky, fantastic drummers, fantastic guys. But when we had the chance to get Andals back, we knew that was just a kind of a missing piece that we welcomed back for sure.
That's really cool. I'm going to interview Tom Hazart, and you guys worked with him at the start. How did you guys get connected with him?
Chris Bacuza, our keyboard sampler guy, he knew him back in the day somehow, just from like a lot of that street team stuff that was going on with like Roadrunner and I don't know what else, island music and stuff. But there was a lot of that street team stuff that Chris was heavily involved in. And I believe that's how he met Tom Hazart, because Tom Hazart was just kind of in the scene, trying to promote, trying to A&R, trying to get bands signed and just make stuff happen musically. So he was always he had his hand in things, and we got hooked up with him. And I think he made a lot of great things happen for us early back in the day, getting us showcases out in LA and New York City with various labels and things, and really kickstarting our career, helping us with that, which was great. And then we just, I don't know exactly, but just decided to move on, I guess, to what we thought was another level. Like we went to the next manager who was managing Fear Factory and Biohazard, a guy named Scott Koenig and stuff. So we just wanted to keep leveling up in every way we could. And so that kind of ended that relationship with Tom. No hard feelings or anything like that. But yeah, he's certainly, we could credit him with really helping us get our start, and we're appreciative of that.
On Passed Out of Existence, you have Stefan from Deftones.
Yeah.
Who are some of how did you get him? And kind of a two-part question is how did you get Stefan from Deftones, which Deftones is one of my favorite bands, and who are your influences as far as guitar-wise?
Early on in those Tom Hazart days, Mark Hunter and Chris Bacuza and Jim Lamarck all flew out to LA before we went and did any of those showcases, just to kind of meet with Tom and some potential label guys and stuff. And they ended up just having dinner with Stefan, and Stefan heard the demos for like Dead Inside and stuff off Pass Out of Existence and said, I really like this stuff. I'd like to come write a song with you guys. So we're like, great, okay, that sounds cool. And we'll be back here in a couple of months to begin recording Pass Out of Existence. And so it happened. It just happened naturally. We went out there, gave him a call, said, hey, we're here. Do you want to come by? He said, sure. He came by, and we wrote and recorded that song in one day, knocked it out. Yeah. So, and so that was really cool.
Did you guys ever document it? Like, is there any footage of this?
I don't believe so. There's some like just tiny video and just think back then in 2001, camera quality just on your phone and stuff just wasn't as great and as accessible as it is. So I believe it was after that when Todd Bell came in and we said we should start documenting these processes and everything. But I don't really think a lot exists of our time in the studio making Pass out of existence. Especially, I can't think of any with the Stefan stuff, but yeah, it was great. He was super cool. And of course, surreal for us. I mean, at that time, we were all big Adrenaline Around the Fur fans. I don't know if White Pony had come out yet at that time, but probably right around then. But, everybody was huge Deftones fans at that time. And my influence has always been Metallica, Megadeth, Slayer, Pantera, Sepultura.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Huge influence for me. Yeah. And then a lot of death metal too. Cannibal, Deicide, Suffocation, Morbid Angel. So...
Do you collect guitars? Like I love Kurt's guitar that has White Zombie on it, Do you you collector?
That's a cool one. I have many guitars, but I don't consider myself a collector. And I have many of like the same guitar too. Like I have a lot of my RA600s. I have a lot of like M1, they're all ESPs, a lot of M1000s, a lot of so like I'm not really like a collector, you'd say, that just has like a bunch of different cool guitars or something like that. I have just many of the same style, that I just use for different things or just like to have,
Going back to your solo album, I'm sorry, I'm kind of all over the map, but
no problem.
How did you get Andals to play drums on it? I know that was special getting him back, right?
So when I during my last stint with the band in 2011, when I knew that I was gonna be exiting the band, I started making my plans to what I was going to do next. I knew I wanted to get a recording studio going. I'd always had an interest in that. And then I wanted to start working on an album. And I thought, well, if Andals will play drums, it'd be great. So I asked him, he said, sure. I wrote the songs. This is all in 2012. And then I sent him to him for him to digest. And he came to my studio. He was living in Vegas or something at the time, but he came to my studio in 2013 and laid down all his tracks. So all of his drum tracks for the Magnitude album were recorded in 2013, which is a misconception for everyone, because a lot of people know that Andals is sick, kind of just physically and mentally just not really well. I can't say exactly what it is because I don't know if there's a name for it or whatever, but he's just having some issues, and he has been for quite a while now. But in 2013, he was still strong and good and all that, and he was able to play those drums then. And I've been sitting on this for that long as I've been trying to find time to finish it off and buckle down and finish off my parts for the songs and mix and master it. And waiting all this time, I believe, was essential as well, because I learned so much during that time, from when he first tracked his drums to when it was released, of how to mix a record and things like that, that had I put it out earlier, I don't think it would have been of the quality that I think it is now.
Oh man, that's crazy. I didn't know you sat on it that long. That's got to be difficult. Who did the artwork for the cover? I really like that as well.
Yeah, it's a guy named Daemorph, like at Daemorph, DAEMORPH, that I just, over the years, as I'm scrolling through Instagram or Facebook, whatever, I always knew that I was going to need to get artwork made at some point. And every once in a while, when I saw artwork that caught my attention, I'd just make note of it. And so probably around in 2021, I happened to see in my Instagram feed some of Daemorph's artwork, and I was like, whoa, this stuff is sick and exactly what I want. I recommend everyone check it out. It's gory and totally brutal, but there's something about his use of colors and stuff like that. And when I reached out to him, he's from like Ukraine, I think. And like, so the war had just begun at that time. So it was actually quite a process to make it all happen. And I told him, I love your style, but I don't want really anything like super offensive and gory and stuff, as this is just like an instrumental guitar record, sort of thing. It doesn't need to have a bunch of like, hellish slaughtering going on or something, like you'll see if you check out at Daemorph on Instagram. But his artwork is absolutely fantastic.
On the album, are you playing bass and everything? I know you did.
Yeah. I did everything to make the record except play the drums.
Do you sing at all?
Nah, no.
You should throw some vocals on there, man.
I can say that I have a great sense of pitch in here, but when I try to put it out here, I sound like it just doesn't sound good.
You miss playing live? Are you still doing? I know Chimaira does these random shows, but do you miss playing live? I mean, you guys were killing it back in the day.
There are certainly aspects of playing live and touring that I miss, and aspects that I don't. I've now, after all these years, grown comfortable just being a homebody and a father.
Nice.
I got little kids, so that I couldn't really picture being away from for extended periods of time. Like if we were to jump back into it again full time or something like that. But I know other guys do it. So, but yeah, so it had been 6 years actually to the day since I stepped on stage after leaving the band in 2012. And then we came back, or at the end of 2011, and then we came back and did that show in 2017, the one Chimaira reunion show. And now it'll be 5.5 years again for this set of shows coming up on May 12th and 13th here. So yeah, a lot of time in between. So it creates a lot of a feeling of, I can't wait to get back and give it another go. So yeah,
you guys practice together when you're rehearsing for these shows, or do you just do them?
Like all of us, are going over the stuff on our own right now. But just Jim, Mark, and I live in Cleveland, and the rest of the guys are spread out Vegas, Florida, and LA. And so, but we're at the end of March, we're going to get together for our first round of rehearsals, and that'll be probably like 3 days to just start going over the set, working out any kinks, figuring out transitions, talking about everything, refining, modifying, all that. And then we'll come back, I believe May 1st, and then do like a full 10-day stretch of just hitting it hard leading up to the shows, rehearsing together.
Are you going to film this show coming up?
Todd Bell is actually coming out, and I don't know that it'll be like a full filming of the show. That is something that we release like full concert, but there's going to be lots recorded of the rehearsal, the load in, day of, all sorts of shows. And I imagine that something will come out, maybe just like a little, I don't know, I'm pulling this out of my ass, but a 20-30 minute kind of mini movie of the whole experience, I think is kind of what it'll end up being.
Yeah, I love that, man. I don't know like how you guys do without like with nerves and everything, just building up to this one moment, I remember seeing the documentary. Mark was, obviously nervous. He was throwing up literally before going on the show. Do you get nervous before playing gigs like that?
I don't really think so.
That's a good thing.
I don't know. I don't feel nervous right now. Like as if I were to have to take the stage right now, I don't feel nervous, but I may, the day up. I'm not sure. So we'll see. We'll see. I believe in that if you're confident and you know your parts, then there's no reason to be nervous, especially knowing that they're both sold out and the fans want it and it's going to be great. It's not like, oh, are people going to show up? That type of nervousness, because it's going to be slammed out. So it's kind of cool. That kind of sets your nerves at ease already, knowing that it's going to be great. So I'm feeling good going into it.
It's funny how we're all getting older. I remember seeing you guys back in the day. You would divide the crowd.
Yeah.
Big wall of death. But the older we get, I mean, do you see people like I'm assuming we're around the same age? Do you just see newer fans, or do you just see older fans bringing their kids and stuff?
Well, I guess I'm pretty sure. I don't remember the moment, but I'm pretty sure Mark in 2017 at the last show said, "How many of you have seen Chimaira before? How many of you are seeing Chimaira for the first time?" So it's like kind of mixed up, maybe there's some little kids there with their parents, but not a ton or anything. It's a heavy metal show, so there's some young kids that their parents take them to that type of stuff. But I don't know.
Yeah, but man, I'm looking forward to seeing whatever you guys record too. That's really cool.
Yeah, me too.
So when you do you gonna do another solo album? I'm assuming are you gonna have a different drummer this time?
Probably. I'd love to have Andals again, but that's on him if he's able to show the world that he's been playing and that he's back at it and stuff, which hasn't happened yet. So I can't count on that. So I definitely plan to do another one. I've already started just compiling riffs in my head and singing them into my phone all the time, but I'm doing that all the time anyways. I just have to pick and choose what I want to use or what feels good to go with at that time for it. But so as I was saying earlier, when that time comes, I'll have to determine who I'd like to have play all over, from drums to vocals to all that, and when I write the songs, I typically write my own drums. I just program them just so there's something there. And then I'll always ask the drummer, do you want a version with my drums that I played or not? And I'll tell an interesting story here. Something actually that no one's ever heard before about a song on Magnitude. Are you a Megadeth fan?
Yes, man.
So the late Nick Menza, the drummer during the golden era of Megadeth.
Yes.
In 2013, I think I was called by Nick Menza's manager that said, and he said, "Hey, Nick likes your work and would like you to write some songs for him." I was blown away by that. Like, whoa, dude, I grew up listening to Megadeth. I love Nick Menza. And so I was totally honored. So I wrote him the song Ghost Roaster, which is like track 6 or 7 or something on the CD. I don't know, somewhere, but there's a song Ghost Roaster on there. I wrote that for Nick Menza from Megadeth. But so
dude, that's amazing.
I asked him, well, yeah. So I asked though, do you want my version with the drums, or do you just want to go free with it? And he said, no, I don't want to hear the drums you wrote, which was totally fine. Hey, this is Nick Menza, you can do it, take it however you want it. But it was unfortunate what he sent back. It just didn't work. It didn't click. I feel like he didn't understand like my song writing. And again, no disrespect, I love Nick Menza and everything, but he just didn't get it or something. Where as if I would have set my drums along, he would have understood the arrangement more, where the up and down beats were. Not that it's a complicated arrangement or anything like that, but it just didn't work for him, and it didn't work for us, and the song didn't work out. So now you can go listen to Ando's version, and he killed it because he knows me super well, and he knows everything I'm going to do anyways. But he also did listen to my demo drums and understood where I planned for the snares to fall and things like that. So just a funny thing. I kind of worked with Nick Menza, but not. And later on, actually, just to conclude this, I heard some material that he had other guys write for him, and it could have been any song off Rust in Peace. So that's what he was looking for, I think, were just Megadeth type songs, and Ghost Roaster was not that at all. I tried to write something that I thought that would be cool for him, but was still my own. I didn't want to just write him a Megadeth song unless I was asked to do that. If he had said, write me something like Holy Wars or something, I would have tried, but he didn't. So.
Did you tell him you didn't like the song, or how was the response?
I can't remember exactly what I said, and I really wish that I still had the email thread, because I'd love to listen to it now, and I'd love to. Well, I don't know that I'd share it. Just I don't know, but I can't even find the song, the version, the email thread. Sometimes after all those years, those things, they've been in your old mail for a while, and then they get deleted to make space for, I don't know, so it just works. AOL mail is what I was using, still use a little bit, but no, unfortunately I can't find that. I don't remember what the conversation was afterwards. And at that point I was communicating with his manager too, and I kind of was just like, I don't think this is going to work out. And then that's where maybe he showed me what some of the other guys were writing for Nick, and it just kind of fell apart, I think.
Have you ever guested on other people's albums where you got asked to play a part?
Yeah, I've done solos for just a number of independent artists. I don't really think anything like, big or anything. Like I can't say I'm on whatever, a Fear Factory album or something like that, but just a lot of independent artists over the years, especially in the early teens, 2013 through until like I said, about 2018, when I stopped taking on work. A lot of my work was guitar lessons, doing guest solos for guys, ghost songwriting, mixing, and tracking lots of local bands and stuff. So I was doing a ton of that at that time, and kind of like I was saying, I just really just stopped all that so that I could focus full time on YouTube, because it was just too much to try to do all that kind of stuff all at once while trying to build my YouTube channel and my brand and stuff.
Dude, man, I got to say, growing up, your band and just that whole scene of going to shows and people handing you, like you were talking about Streetwise, handing CDs out to you, and you guys were, we really looked up to you. We looked up we were big, me and my friends, we all went to see Fear Factor every year. You guys, Spine Shake. It was just I don't know, man. It's like it's just, you're like a part of something special, and
I totally agree.
It's so cool, man.
I totally agree, man. Those were just super fun times. You don't really notice at the time. You're having fun at the time, but looking back, those are some of my fondest memories. For just think what that meant for us, because we were just metalhead loving kids too, or metal loving kids too, that just got lucky. These things started happening for us. And one of our first tours, El Nino, like with Mark Rizzo, where us and El Nino, two brand new Roadrunner bands, are supporting Machine Head and Fear Factory. We're out with Machine Head and Fear Factory together, bands that we worshiped growing up and emulated and were influenced by. And yeah, Spine Shank taking us under their wing, taking us on our first tour, just for the love of it. We just met them one night. We opened for them at some show and said, "Hey, take us on the tour." And they said, "Okay," and that's how it happened. And then we're going to Europe with all those bands and all that. So yeah, just a really fun time and surreal that was happening for us. And so many great shows, Masquerade shows down there,
yeah.
Tabernacle. What else is down there?
Yeah, that's so cool.
I
was there.
For sure. Yeah, dude. I going to the Masquerade and Atlanta, that area was always cool because they were just great crowds that loved the music. Everybody was excited about music at that time.
Yeah.
New metal was happening. The metalcore thing was happening. And it was all kind of coming together right then. A lot of good bands were popping off, and it was just a good time, good scene, good energy.
Did you did you collect a lot of stuff from those times, like on the road, and I don't know, like promotional stuff from the band? Are you a collector, or do you just whatever?
I'm not a collector, but I'm a pack rat. So okay. Yes, I would take one or two of everything, from every guitar pick to every laminate, like a stage, the passes, to every VIP sticky pass that the fans or that the guests would get, to every poster that I could get my hand on. I have boxes and boxes and boxes of stuff. And over the past couple of years, I've been doing like an eBay weekly sale. I started off with, and then on my Patreon page, I was doing a raffle every month. Just because I wanted to get this stuff, just give it to people, because I literally have like some of this stuff, 30 copies or 100 copies of some Killer Impossibility or Reason poster or something, But yeah, I've kept everything, but not because I'm a collector, like a baseball card collector or anything like that. Just because I just save everything.
Oh, that's so cool. I do the same thing, but yeah, that's really neat that you posted on eBay and stuff. I gotta definitely check that out.
Yeah, it was cool. So it was a way to make a couple extra bucks. Plus, I was doing a percentage to like St. Jude's and stuff, so be able to give a little back and stuff too. So, and because I wanted to just get it out there, like I said, it's better than sitting in my basement in these boxes,
Yeah, man. But dude, I really appreciate you being on the show on Good Company. And one day I gotta have you at the house sometime and do a big interview with all the cameras. And
yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be cool. First of all, well, thanks for having me. And second, that'd be great, because that would mean that in some way the stars would have aligned and we're on the road and we're coming through your neighborhood, So
yes,
that's the only way that's going to happen, really, I think.
Yeah, no.
Or maybe it'd be just me with playing the Magnitude album or something. Who knows? I'd love to get out there and play that record if I could. So there are many possibilities.
We've done tour bus interviews, so we could always do that too. I interviewed Stryper, the entire band, on their bus.
Nice. We've done plenty of those. Everybody packed in the back lounge, or front lounge, whatever. But yeah, those are always tight quarters, when it's the whole band.
Hey man, I really appreciate being on the show, man. Thank you so much, Rob. This means a lot to me, man.
My pleasure, and I appreciate all your years of loving the music.
Thank you, man. Awesome. Hey man, I'm sorry about the slow start, man. But anyway,
it's all good. Worked out all right?
Yeah, man. But you're fun to talk to, man. This was really fun.
Hey, I appreciate it. My pleasure. Like I said, thanks for having me.
All right, man. John, you got anything else to add, or I always leave you hanging, man?
No, it's all good, man. I'm just here for moral support, really. I do have a question though. Do you own, like you were talking about how you have a lot of the same guitars and they're all streamlined, like for your sound?
Yeah.
Do you own anything that you wouldn't expect, like a single coil guitar or like an acoustic or anything like that you use for recording?
Something you wouldn't expect.
Yeah.
I mean, I have nylon string guitars and 12-string guitars, but I've used those on the records and stuff. Beginning of Implements of Destruction, that's like a nylon string that I still have and use every once in a while. But I would say the most avant-garde guitar to my collection is a like a Dimebag Razor V that it might be the only non-ESP guitar I have, and it's just because a fan sent it to me, and he said, "Hey, I'd like for you to have this guitar." So you could see it in one of my videos, "Everything You Love 30," I think, or something. But I don't use it or anything. I don't really use it. It's just something to just have, a cool dime bag keepsake.
Right, of course. And you're sponsored by ESP?
Yeah. I've had a great fruitful relationship with ESP since day one. Going back to Stefan, I don't know if you ever heard this, but during that meeting that I talked about where Mark, Chris, and Jim were out there and they met Stefan at that dinner, he also said, "Hey, when you guys come back to record, I'll hook you up with ESP guitars." And we're like, okay. At that point, I had never played an ESP. I'd never held one. I only knew of them because James and Kirk and all the posters on my walls growing up were playing ESP guitars. So I was like, whoa, that's sick. I'd love to check those out. And dude, it was as simple as when we were rolling in to LA, Mark called Stefan and said, "Hey, we're coming to town here. So let's set up, if you want to come by, write that song. And also you mentioned this ESP guitar thing." He said, "Yeah, hold on." He calls Mark back in like 5 minutes. He's like, "I got a meeting for you guys tomorrow at noon at the ESP factory." Oh. So we're driving in and we go over to the factory and we meet the guys. 5 minutes later, they're just in the warehouse. "Here, take whatever you like," sort of thing. And it's been like that ever since. It's been killer. So Stefan, thank you, Stefan. He's hooked it up for us so much, and just being a nice guy. That's it.
Yeah, no doubt.
Oh,
they're
that's
great
so
guitars.
Cool.
Yeah, totally, man. Yeah, and it worked out then years later. Where Matt and I got signature ESPs, the RA 600 and MFA 600. So it's really cool. Like I said, it's just been a really great relationship. And now, I do like unboxings for them and stuff like that. If they have a new product, they'll occasionally hit me up, be like, "Hey, do you want to demo this one on your channel and stuff?" So yeah, it's just really, really cool. And they're fantastic instruments, undeniably fantastic instruments. So I'm super proud to be able to fly the flag for a brand that I wholeheartly believe in 100%,
Wow, that's amazing, dude. That's really cool. Yeah. I got one of his guitars framed, the whole band signed. One of his green guitars,
Yeah, I know which one.
That's cool.
I can picture it. It's maybe like a almost like a telly body.
Yes. Yeah.
Cool,
man. Hey, John, you got any more questions, man?
Just one more, just for my own curiosity. Like, you mentioned that when you started focusing on YouTube in 2018, that prior to that, you've been doing mixing, you were doing guitar lessons, like all these things that in my mind I'm going like, okay, that's producing a steady stream of income. I know it sounds like it was very intentional for you to focus on YouTube, but was that had to be scary? Like, hey man, I'm going to do this and focus on this. And like, and obviously I don't know what it was like for you, but it just seems like that was like a leap of faith to go on there and concentrate on it really hard. What was that like?
Yeah, it was. I'm a preparer. I prepare for everything. So I would say during the years leading up to that, as I started thinking about it, I started just saving money, saving a little extra money to be able to make that leap, because I was making my living at that time primarily from recording local bands just in the area. And I was getting burnt out on that a little bit, where just for many reasons, there's just so many moving parts to that, dealing with band members. And everybody was cool. And I was lucky because I already had like a built-in little level of respect because I was a Cleveland, Chimaira guy, so all that was super cool. I didn't really have any problems with guys or anything like that, but I didn't like chasing money, and not that people weren't paying either, but still just that whole process. I just don't like that. I like just being creative and just working on my own stuff is what I came to find out through all that I needed to stop that. And YouTube seemed like a great thing. So I just set myself up for that, to be able to take that leap where you're not making any income at all at first with YouTube,
Right.
And even now it's not like it supports me or anything like that, but because of it, I have multiple streams of income that you build up. As you guys know, YouTube creates a lot of opportunities. So, and you could pick and choose those opportunities. And so it's just worked out. Another reason why I wanted to do it as well is to make a platform for myself so I could release the solo album or my elite records or anything that I want to do like that, where if I didn't have that, really no one would know that they came out. And even still now, my social media reach is still fairly small, but I was lucky to have a built-in audience to start with, but it's still fairly small in the grand scheme of things. And I can't even touch the audience that a label would provide, as an established record label and stuff. So, and I knew I wasn't going to have a record deal. So it was all just, came to this where, all right, I need to build this thing, to build a platform so that people can find out about the music that I'm going to release. So it's all just working together, and it's going to continue to work like that. And it continues to grow every single day and more towards the machine that I want, where I could just put out records, people know about them, whether they like them or not. And I could just continually do that. And that's all I do.
Man, that's so cool. I love that drive and passion. That's really awesome.
Hey, right on. Well, I'm sure you guys have it as well,
We're trying.
That's why we're here, right?
Yeah, man. Oh, yeah. One thing I was going to tell you, I forgot, was when I was talking about your background. When I remember seeing I keep bringing this documentary because I love it so much. But it was so cool seeing you in your bedroom. Was that your parents' house? Yeah,
dude.
but
So when I lived there till I was 25, because basically when I was 20, we started touring, and at that point I'd be home like a couple months a year, because we toured so much back then. And then when I met my wife, when I decided to ask my girlfriend to marry me at that time, then we got a place, we bought a condo, and that was the first time I moved out. But yeah, so during that entire Impossibility of Reason era, I was living at my parents,
Yeah, that's good. That's cool. All right, man. I appreciate being on the show, dude. This means the world to me, man.
Fucking A. All right,
Sweet.
guys. Well, thanks so much. And I appreciate it. When do you think this will hit?
So I'm doing the CMS network. I'm on the CMS network, the Classic Motion Network, and they want me to release every other Thursday. So it would probably be maybe 2 weeks, maybe. I mean, I can push it sooner if you want.
No, it doesn't matter to me. I'll just keep an eye out, and so I can share it.
Oh, that means the world. I'll definitely send you a link and all that stuff.
Yeah, please do. And where is it? I'm going to Scott, let's see here. Am I subscribed? I'm not. I'm now subscribed.
Hey guys, my name's Scott Bowling. I have a
That's
YouTube
me.
channel. Good company. Bowling.
All right. Well, I'm now subscribed, so I'll know.
Oh, sweet, man. That's awesome.
Yeah. Okay. Well, cool. I'll look out for it. And
keep in touch.
thanks again. You guys take it easy. All right.
You too, bud.
Peace, y'all.
All right. Cheers, guys.
Thanks, man.